Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 3, Money Discipline. Did a couple housekeeping things. I have Sam in my room because last time we filmed this episode, he was eating and walking around. And I could hear it the whole time. It was pissing me off. But anyway, today what we're going over, which is kind of home for me, is how to finance your first vehicle. Basically, we're going to start if you're at like ground zero, like let's just say 16 years old, you want to buy your first car at 18 years old, like what should you do? How can you kind of set that up? Or if, you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you want to look at financing your first car, some small things you can do to help get to that path of being able to finance your first car if you don't have a co-signer that can help you out. One easy thing you could do to start building your credit is kind of what we talked about in the previous episode is opening a credit card, getting a student credit card, going and getting a credit card to start that bureau. What that's going to do is start building your history because everybody, when you don't have any credit and anything, credit cards, finance a car, house, anything, your bureau is going to show at 0. That means you have no history on what your credit or what kind of payments you've made before, what people have lent you for money. So basically you're a 0. So how the bank's going to look at that is they're going to look at you as a risk because basically you're just taking someone's word at that point that you're going to pay them back, right? There's no history of, okay, well, he's had his credit card for 3 years now and he's paid them on time every time, or he's financed his car for 10 grand and he's paid them on every time, paid the car off. We're good there. Or vice versa. Maybe, okay, he had a credit card, never paid it off, it's in collections. Okay, he's probably not going to make his payment on his card. So for starters, opening a credit card as soon as you can, when you understand that paying that on time, that you can manage that, what that budget looks like for a credit card, and then, like I said, having that discipline to pay it off on time. That is a great starter. What a lot of people I see when they're 16, 17, 18, 18, 19, 20 years old, 24, 28 years old, first time buying a car. If you have mom, dad, uncle, grandma, grandpa, somebody with good credit, that is who you want to co-sign with you if you're going to be looking at a co-signer. Reason being, kind of like piggybacking off the history thing, having someone with good history of payments, a big bureau of things that they've had paid off, houses, mortgages, rental properties, other vehicles, whatever. Having someone with good history that the payment will be paid. If for some reason you can't make the payment, it's going to be huge on getting a lower rate. So I always recommend having that conversation with mom and dad, uncle, whoever, to say, hey, I'm going to go look at financing car. Would you like to co-sign for me to help me get a lower rate? Now, still opening a credit card beforehand will help you just with your bureau not being a 0, as the better your bureau looks alongside with whoever's co-signing with you with good history is going to help you with a lower rate, essentially. Assuming the car is only a few years old or a new car, relatively low miles, the co-signer with phenomenal credit, good history will always get a better rate than with you on the loan. Yet if you can start building your credit with a credit card or two, or you're financing a 4-wheeler or a bike, paying it off on time, that's going to just help your rate in general. So like I said, I would look to have that conversation with somebody if they're open to it. And let's just say, like, okay, I want to finance a car with mom and dad, right? They're going to do it for me or with me. A year down the road, if you want to not have them on it, you can call the bank, refinance it in just your name, assuming the payments have been made on time. You now have a year of good payment history with this bank. What you're going to do is just refinance the loan in just your name. So you're going to let them look at your credit, prove you on the remaining balance of it, and then they're going to have mom off the title and the lien, or dad, whoever, and then it's going to be you on it. What the benefit of that long term would be when you get rid of this car or you go to trade this car in, and assuming, like, let's just say that car you financed was 15 grand. Now you're going to look at a $25,000 car. Some banks, when they go to look at your bureau and they see you had a co-applicant on your previous loan, sometimes, more than likely not, but sometimes they'll ask you to have another co-applicant. Yet if you went after a year and a half on your previous vehicle and refinanced under your name, when the bank goes and looks at your previous bureau and who's on the current auto loan that you're looking to trade in, or when you paid off that auto loan, who was on it, it'll just show you. So that is a slight benefit there. More than likely, just pay it on time, pay it regularly, keep your credit cards paid on time, pay off the whole vehicle, or just make sure you keep it for 2 or 3 years, and then go to look at finance something else on your own. You won't really run into that issue of needing another co-applicant, assuming you're not jumping from a $15,000 car to a $50,000 car trying to get it on your own. So, and for starters too, if you're just looking at doing it yourself, it's pretty simple. So with building your credit, you're gonna have to crawl before you walk. So, fantastic credit people are getting 5-6% rates currently with the market right now. That's not going to be the case for you. More than likely, if you're a first-time buyer and you're only going on it yourself, limited credit history, you're not going to be getting, nowhere in the single-digit credit or interest rates, I should say. So, reason being, because you're going to be looking at a used car, I would say roughly, if you just got a couple credit cards, maybe your, total available credit or total credit balance is $10,000. I'd recommend looking at like a $20,000 car, maybe $25,000 car. Your credit score is going to be, in the teens, right? And the reason why for that, because you're going to be a higher risk, right? So you don't have a history that the bureau or the bank, when they looks at your bureau, can say, okay, well, he has 8 years of good payment history. He's not a risk. No, you're more likely going to have 1 or 2, 3 years of payment history. Anything under 5 is short history when you're looking at a bureau. So they're going to look at that, and they're going to make their money because they're giving the risk of giving you the money to buy this car. So trust me, they will make their money off their interest rate. One way you can get out of that sooner than later that a lot of people don't understand is that after a year and a half, call your bank, say, hey, I paid you guys on time. Great. I want to refinance this car and get a lower rate on the same vehicle. What that's going to do is going to keep your vehicle, keep your same balance on the car, but it's going to make your payment less because they're going to refinance you and get you a lower rate. That's beneficial, one, for obviously saving money, and then you're not paying as much interest. You prove to them that you can pay them on time, and then that you can get a lower interest rate. So beneficial way of doing that, just understand that you will have to eat a higher rate when you're ever first time buying a car. And that happens with everybody. And long as you manage your money properly, that's only going to happen once, and that should be when you're at a young age or your very first time buying a car at whatever age that is. So it should only happen once. When you're looking at buying a vehicle, I highly recommend putting down your taxes and fees. So when you go purchase a vehicle, you're going to have documentation fee, which is to pay the people, everybody upstairs in the office to title your vehicle and get everything sent to your DMV for registration. You're going to have a registration fee, which is the fee for the state that you're registering the vehicle in for that vehicle. So all the fees that state charges, that is going to be added up and in that registration fee. It's usually $150. And then you're going to have taxes. What I recommend is putting down whatever that amount is plus 10 to 20%. So you're looking at, $20,000 car. I'd look at probably putting down $2,000 to $4,000, which is going to be your 10 to 20% range, and then put down your fees, which on a $20,000 car you're going to have probably another $1,500, $2,000 in fees. So I'd say in between $4,000 to $6,000. I would put down on your very first car. Now, what that's going to do is going to show the bank that you're already committing to this vehicle. People that put down money invest in their investment, which is their vehicle in this transaction. The bank is more opted to give you a better rate because they trust that even though your history is not very long, They trust that, hey, if someone's going to dump $6,000 into this $20,000 car, they're more opted to make this payment. So we're going to give them a lower rate, help them out a little bit. So versus if you just say, hey, it's first time buying a car, $20,000 car, screw it, I just want to finance everything. Well, then you're jumping right in the gun with negative equity because you're financing your taxes that don't contribute to the value. Uncle Sam's going to get his money. So I recommend you just paying that up front versus financing that because, as everybody knows, once you drive the car off the lot, you lose value, right? Because it is a object that loses value. So instead of being ahead of that game and making payments and staying in positive equity, you finance everything. It's very, very hard to catch up, especially in just 1 or 2 years of having the vehicle to get back in positive equity. Hence, you're going to get a higher rate because the bank on paper doesn't see you committing to the vehicle, and they really don't know if you're going to make your payments. So always, always, always recommend putting down money. It's only going to help you. Once again, when you're planning this all out, I go over this to help people plan in the future on buying a car. So, get that credit card, start saving up some money. You're making $2, $3, $4 a month. Start putting $500 away, 6 months. You're going to have $2,500, whatever. That can go towards a vehicle. That's only going to help you get approval, help you get a nicer car, and help you get a lower rate. Went over the car, looked for around $20,000 to start with. Obviously, if you got a co-signer, mom and dad, uncle, whoever, you can get a little bit more car. Just know your payments obviously going to be higher. So simple math on when you're looking at a vehicle to buy for your first one or whatever for anybody, every $10,000 is going to be roughly $200 on payment. So, and that is accurate up to a certain point. You look at $100,000 car, your note or your payment's not necessarily going to be $2,000. It's usually going to be about $1,700-$1,800. So as the more expensive car you get, that can be skewed a little bit. But I mean, just for general keeping, you're looking at a $30,000 car. Give me roughly, $650 on payment. $40,000 car, times that by 2, you're $800. So whatever the first number is, just times that by 2, and that's your payment. So $10,000 car, $200, $20,400, right? And once again, that's just with average credit and average rates. What I would recommend when also you're looking at financing a car, especially if it's your first time, you plan on just making the regular payments, never finance past 72 months. And when you get in the 84, you never really get in the positive equity situation there when you're in 84 months, no matter really what car you're buying. I know on paper, 84 months is going to be a cheaper payment. It's going to look good to you. The only way I'd recommend that is, okay, let's say, 72 months, your payments, $650. 84 months, your payments can be, $610. Okay. If you're pretty confident, make the $600 payment, on a bad month, like in sales, like normally how I explain it is that you finance a house for 30 years, paid off in 15, that's kind of what you're going to want to do there. So, I mean, if you're financing 84 months, you got to pay more than what that payment is to get ahead. I recommend not even just playing with that. I recommend just doing 72 months, 60 months, 66 months, where if you're just making a regular payment, you're going to hang right around where your payoff is where your value's worth is at. Or, if you're at 60 months, 48 months, you're really going to get ahead where you go to trade the car in. Instead of needing $2, $5, $8,000 down, you're going to have that in positive equity to the vehicle. That is pretty much a down payment on your next one. You just keep rolling that into next car and into the next vehicle. So stay 72 months and then keep it less than that. Also, if your payment's $700, it's pretty easy to make the $800 payment, right? Well, yeah, start making that extra money, put it towards the vehicle. So if your payment's $700, you pay $800. That extra $100 is going straight to the principal, right? So on a payment, you think taxes or interest is accumulated monthly. It's accumulated daily, so it's called a daily per diem. It's how much your vehicle cost a day, and that's reflected solely off your interest rate. So if your interest rate's 2 or 3%, you're going to have $1 or $2 per diem a day. If your interest rate's, 8, 9, 10%, you're going to have like a $5 to $8 per diem a day. So every day it's accumulating, right? So when you make that payment, you're covering all of that, right? So not all your payments go into the principal. So if you pay extra, that extra is going to go solely straight to your principal to help pay that off, get your car paid off quicker. So when you do trade it in, once again, positive equity, or you just get, the car paid off sooner. A lot of people like to make double payments. So if you're financed 72 months, 6 years, you're going to pay it off in 3 years. So it's just understanding how payments are accumulated, and how it can easily slip away if you just pay what's on the paper and you really don't think about how to manage it and get through it as financially sound as you can. I don't recommend payments on a car in general, yet a lot of people do that, writing off for businesses, leasing, whatever. Let's see. Oh, yeah, another thing too. If you're starting, this really goes for anybody. When you go look at financing, so you want your available credit, which we talked about a little bit in last episode. You want your available credit to be 50% or higher. So, like if you have, $100,000 and your available credit is like 50%, you're going to have available of $50,000 left. So the higher percentage means the more available credit you have. So out of the $100,000, if you have 80% available credit, well, that means you have $80,000 available and you're only using 20 grand. What's going to hurt you is when you are, 40%, 30% available credit. I actually ran into this with a client yesterday. If you're, 30, 40% available credit, well, now you tack on a $400 payment, then you're in, 20, 15% available credit. Then you're on the break of, not making your payments on time, right? So that's when you get your higher rates, or the bank won't even approve it because you're becoming too much of a risk. So before you go, make sure your cards are paid up on time. Make sure everything's paid up on time. Make sure available credit is above 50%. So when you go in, you have all the cards set up in your favor, and you look the cleanest on your bureau to get the better rate, to be able to get an approval. You can get more of a car if your shit just looks in order. Let's see. We've already talked about, payments. If you're wanting to forget kind of payments, set it up on auto payment. Normally when you set up on auto payment, if your money is the same every month, if you're an hourly worker, salary worker, payment $600, you can easily afford $750. Set auto payment up for $750 for this day whenever your payment comes out, and then you can easily, without even thinking about it, the money just comes out and you're getting ahead. It's like someone else is making the payment for you and working for you. So set up auto payment. You can. 95% of the times the banks have apps you can do that through. It's super simple there. Let's see. That's about all I have to cover. I know it's a lot of information, but it's the 5 years of doing this. What I recommend, if you are going to take the financing route and not pay cash for your first vehicle or vehicle just in general, these are the tips I could give you that honestly, if you put your head down, work for, a year, building your history and stuff like that, you can get yourself a lot further ahead than if you were just to roll up to a dealership and hope for the best. So please comment if you guys got any more questions, want me to talk about any more topics. Next week, I'll be taking off from this video. Pate that does all my editing and stuff and help me out, he is going to be gone. So in 2 weeks, I'll have something else to talk about. But yeah, comment if you want to hear some other stuff. And I guess you guys have a good rest of your day.